What's up, guys and gals? It is finally time to get back to the community questions. As a reminder, I must say I am not an expert, just a fan and a researcher. So if I make a mistake, please feel free to correct me. If I mispronounce your username, I am sorry in advance. Also, remember, if you want me to answer your question faster in the comment section, put red at the start of your comment and I'll get back to you. If you want to have your question featured in an upcoming community questions video, start off your comment with the phrase, "This has been bugging me." Don't mix the keyword and phrase from earlier, as it throws my mind into programming mode and I don't know what you want. With that said, let's get into these questions. Marcus Mosley wants to know, Morgana is somehow reminiscent of Midna from Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Is it possible that Morgana is cursed to be in cat form? It may explain why she is so irritated being called one. It's a possibility, but Morgana is a creature from the other world. Not only that, she is a shapeshifter. We haven't seen all of her forms yet. If she wanted to, she could probably make a cartoonish looking human form. But the curse thing is interesting, and I'll have to look into that. Mostly why I think she gets so irritated while being called a cat is she doesn't like it, as it kind of demeans her. Not because she is cursed, but because she is considered less than a human. Sorry, Marcus, I'm going to have to research this a little bit more, but it kind of seems off right now, and I don't feel right trying to give an answer for it. The next question comes from the Supreme Gay. He recently dug through all the info about Philemon and Nyarlathotep, and he's thinking that one scene from the trailers where the man walking up the gold bodies was Nyarlathotep. And I gotta say, I agree with you. The whole design matches. I have been saying for a while that I actually think Philemon and Nyarlathotep will make a resurgence somehow in Persona 5. I mean, if they're bringing back all the details from P1 and P2, why not also bring back the old gods that made everything possible even in P3 and P4? Plus, it would be a shout out to longtime fans, and the way Atlas and Persona Studios is making the shout out with this entire game to longtime fans, it would make sense. But I do not personally believe that the guy walking up the golden bodies is Nyarlathotep. I mean, he may be possessed by some force of Nyarlathotep, but it's not him. The next question comes from the GamerKid134. How do you think the good and bad endings will portray? Maybe the protagonist is falsely found guilty and go through jail time, and the protagonist and the group gets the true being and defeats it and obtain the freedom they yearn for, good and true ending. Actually, GamerKid, this has been a subject that's been on my mind for a while, and I was about to make a video about it in the future. When it comes to endings in Persona 5, it might be something reminiscent of Persona 1 and 2, where there was 5 endings. For Persona 5, I personally believe that there will be 4 endings. Good, bad, and then when you go further into the spectrum on each side, you get perfect and traitor ending. That details some things. Let's start off with the highest and go down to the lowest. Perfect is that everything's hunky-dory, fairy tale ending, beat the bad guy, everybody goes home happy and a little bit better for what they did. The good ending is where the main character goes through jail time, but his friends don't. The bad ending is they just all get jail time, and the world's a little messed up because of their actions. And then the traitor ending is where the main character betrays the entire team to get his own freedom, which is kind of one of the most evil things to do. Hope this answers your question, GamerKid. The next question comes from Nadim Mirza. In the new picture from the magazine with the coach and Anne, is that really Anne or just a fake one created by the coach? During the boss scene, we could see Anne inside the wine glass, but Anne is also fighting in the battle. Good question, because a lot of people have been asking about it in the comments section recently. That picture of the coach and Anne together actually seems like it's more of a mid-dungeon introduction kind of thing to the boss. As we saw in it, Anne is kind of cozying up to him, which is totally not Anne. He might be using Marin Karin, and she breaks free, and from that she gets her persona. Then the dungeon boss moves to further into the dungeon, and the entire team has to work together to reach him. Right before they face the dungeon boss for the final time, Anne gets kidnapped on the floor above or in the cutscene right before the boss battle. Inside the boss battle, you have to free Anne from the wine glass first, and I know you see her health bar on the bottom here, but that's just to show that Anne is taking damage while she's inside the wine glass. Hopefully this answers your question and clears up a little bit on the subject of Anne and the coach. Thanks for asking it. The next question comes from JRodRoyd666. Sorry, I had to take a second to take that name in. Do you think there's even a slight chance of the water and earth element returning? Because it seems weird to leave something like that out when they said this was for the fans of P1 and P2. And if they do return, do you think fusion spells will return as well? Do you also think that there will be new status elements? Well, J-Rod, when it comes to the water and earth elements, we have already seen a picture of all the elements in the 4th trailer. I do not believe the water or earth elements will return. I mean, I wish they did. Before they released the 4th trailer, I was suspecting that they would. On the subject of fusion spells, that's actually pretty interesting. I've been thinking about that myself, but honestly, I haven't seen any clue pointing towards it being there. But I also haven't seen any clues pointing towards it not being there. Though they may have just put in other spells that make the enemy weak to a certain element. That can replace the status ailment you mentioned, like the high chance of getting frozen and double electric damage. I know it was a vague answer, but this is a subject I really have been looking into, and nothing's been jumping out at me. I'll keep the channel updated on it in case fusion spells and status ailment spells are shown to be more apparent in an upcoming trailer. The next question comes from T-Sizzle. The art gallery dungeon boss Madarame's plagiarism sounds like it could be Envy, but the dungeon has also been shown to have peacock motifs, and peacocks are notoriously associated with pride. And if the bosses are going to be named after the associated demon of their sin, and Madarame is really Envy, having Lucifer be the second boss of the game seems off to me. Well, I gotta say, the only reason I consider the Pyramid Dungeon pride is that it's a pyramid. It's a glorified tombstone, which hundreds of people died making just for some guy who thought he was half God. If that's not prideful, I don't know what is. Not to mention that the Sphinx has a lot of pride to her as well. And even though envy and pride can be switched, if you think about it, within the Art Gallery Dungeon and the Pyramid Dungeon, things are just pointing out this way, and I'm going to amend them if I need to later. And I agree with having Lucifer being the second boss of the game a little off. Great question, T-Sizzle, and I'm glad you brought it up. The next question comes from Jumping Moose. Jumping Moose has been very active on the channel lately, and I'm so thankful for it. Assuming the game has multiple endings, do you think that we could become a true villain, or will the story make some kind of twist to make us seem like kind of a hero still? Also, if we do take the evil route, do you think that the rest of the Phantom Thieves will become evil as well? Or will there be a boss fight against them? Well, I gotta relate it back to Persona 4 Golden. If you choose the Accomplice ending, and I kinda answered this question earlier in the Gamer Kids question. While it would be cool if we saw a fight between all the teammates and the main character, I think for easier, more money-based reasons and all the delay, Atlus and Persona Studios would just create a trap scene for the main character to kind of wrap everything up and make it easier for the MC to betray his entire team. But the question of true villain? No, I don't think there's going to be a true villain. Because honestly, you've been fighting this whole time to defeat what is a true villain. Even if you become evil at the end of it, that doesn't make you true villain. True villain is being evil from the get-go and having a motive that your friends didn't know about. It would be sad if the traitor ending included something like this, where the entire party is condemned, but the MC is still considered a hero for what he did. Thanks for the question, Jumping Moose, and for being active. The next question comes from Wolfrine. Everyone is pretty sure that the Lust/Gym Teacher is the first boss, but there is some conflicting evidence. From the trailers, it seems like the casino dungeon is first, but later in the game, the cutscene of the entire cast is going into the casino. Also, people assume the game starts in the casino, so what do you think? It is confusing. Actually, I do think the casino dungeon has a slight possibility of being the first target of the Phantom Thieves, but things go wrong. But along with the info demonstrated in 4th trailer, it now seems that those earlier cutscenes of the main character running around the casino was actually a red herring from Atlus. If we look at the dates within the trailer, we can tell that the casino dungeon is actually after the space dungeon. And this is most likely the dungeon where Crow gets added to the party. There's still that possibility of the main character scoping out the casino dungeon as his first target, but realizing he's in over his head. For now, the information given to us shows that, yes, the casino dungeon is after the space dungeon, and for all we know, the cutscenes of the main character running around the casino dungeon in the first few trailers was actually a red herring to try to throw us off the trail. Thanks for the question, Wolfrine. On the next question, Rihanna Gray has asked something similar. When the MC jumps out of the casino, he is immediately confronted by the police. Is it possible the interrogation is right after the casino dungeon, or a dungeon after the space dungeon? My loose thoughts on why it could be the casino is because the interrogator is Sai Najima, and the person gained mid-dungeon is Makoto Najima. The wording in the fourth trailer talking about leaked plans could lead to capture as well. Just a thought. Well, Rihanna Grayes, I think I have to make some slight corrections, but then again, who am I? Makoto is gained from the bank/church dungeon, not the casino. Also, the main character is probably picked up by the police after jumping out of the casino. The thing is, everybody is thinking that the main character only gets picked up once by the police, but that's not the case. He gets picked up multiple times by the police. In fact, one of the times we have seen him being picked up by the police, specifically the start of the fourth trailer, was actually after he tried to stop a man from assaulting a woman and got beat up for his efforts. And it's possible they put him in the interrogation room again later when they found out he knew about the other world. And there's been people out there speculating how many times exactly the main character will get picked up by the police. Some say it's just 2, others say as many as 5. So, Atlas is very good at putting red herrings in their videos. You have to watch out for that. In all, yes, the main character probably gets picked up by the police after the casino dungeon. But it may not be the interrogation scene from the start of the fourth trailer. There may be multiple scenes of the main character being in the interrogation room. Hope this answers your question, even though I'm wording all these questions wrong. Sorry, it's kind of early. Had to wake up at 5 to make this video. Well, that's it for this week, and I hope you enjoyed. If I made a mistake, tell me and a correction will be placed in the annotations. Also, remember, if you want me to answer your question in the comments section, put red at the start of your comment and I'll get back to you. If you want to have your question featured in an upcoming community questions video, start off your comment with the phrase, "This has been bugging me." Please keep it to the community question videos so I don't miss it. Thanks to all of you watching, and again, I cannot think of a closer, so
goodbye.